welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of March 2024. I know these are late. Thank you very much for waiting for me. I do appreciate it. And I hope you're well. We're using Tower of the Abyss for you today. Before we get started, if the reading resonates and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there is an extended that you can access at the end. That's the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix over on the Circle platform. You can get access to all of the extended content beyond the membership fee for free, and hang out with some really extraordinary group of people. We've got quite a few things going on over there. So if that's something that sounds like it might be of interest to you, you know what to do with that. Third link is to the 3-month overviews that I've done for each of the signs running from April to June. We are moving into tumultuous times. If you've seen anything of the astrology of the next few months, you'll know what I'm talking about. So if you think that a bit of advance notice about how this might affect you would be a useful thing to help you navigate through the energy, that's the third link. Right, Pisces, let's get some cards out for you. Can I have 3 cards for Pisces, please? Oh, we have the 8 of Swords in reverse. Very nice. Current energy is the Emperor, although I'm going to honour the fact that it came out on its side, and I'll explain why shortly. And then what's coming towards Pisces, thank you, we've got the Empress as well. Nice. This is Aries energy and Taurus Libra energy respectively, which is quite interesting since we have a lunar eclipse in Libra happening on the 25th of March, and there's a solar eclipse in Aries happening on the 8th of March. So 8th of April, beg your pardon. We've got the 3 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, sort of highlighting collaborative efforts that you might be engaged with at the moment, or may indeed need to be moving closer towards. We'll wait and see what the cards have to say before we cast any judgment upon that. Interesting. Got the Tower as I've split the deck there. Put it where you can see it. There we go. Sorry, the sun's such a rarity nowadays. I'm absolutely blinded by it. Anyway, tell me about the 8 of Swords. Why is that here, please? Right, we have the 2 of Wands in reverse. And we have the Emperor in the upright. Tell me about the Emperor on his side, please. Why is he here for Pisces? We have the Magician. And we have the Queen of Swords. And then finally, why is the Empress here? We have the Strength card. We have the 3 of Cups in reverse, and we have the Knight of Cups in reverse, and we have the 10 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. I think this makes a lot of sense to me, actually. So let's just put all of these cards where you can see them. Because if it's one thing that really stands out about these energies, Pisces, it's the shift that's going on. And it really does feel like it is in response to external stimuli. I think that's very clear. The 10 of Wands is a card of burden. It's a card that speaks of those times where we feel like we're simply just too pressured. We've taken on too much. Everything's kind of overwhelming us a little bit. And it can be, it can be quite an unpleasant energy to feel like we're having to try and navigate, but at the same time it is a 10, and so it does represent a kind of completion that is looking to happen here. Now bear in mind that we've got a lunar eclipse at the end of the month, and I can't speak directly to whatever area of your life that's going to affect, because in order to do that you need to know which house in astrology this eclipse is actually happening in. If you are for example, Pisces ascendant, then this eclipse is going to be happening in your 8th house. But if you're a Pisces sun and a Pisces moon with, say, a Capricorn ascendant, then this is going to be happening in your 10th house, right? So it's we're going to be speaking generally, and I will try and pick out as many different versions of this that could be happening for you. But it's the theme that we're looking at. So you take what resonates and leave the rest, right? You're tired. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, you're really, really tired with things being the way that they are. So And this could be as a result of the people that you're having to work with at this time. I just want to point that out. Anyway, in your recent past, and by recent past, I mean that could be as early as this morning, or we could be going back about six weeks or so. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse, and this is actually a very welcome card because it speaks of some sort of breakthrough that has occurred relatively recently. The Eight of Swords in reverse is a very uncomfortable energy, although actually I welcome it as much in the upright as I do in the reverse, because it talks about mental restriction, right? It talks about us feeling trapped in some sort of situation and not being able to work out how we get out of it. So the way that this can play out in your life is you're feeling kind of backed into a corner, and every way that you attempt to exit from a situation, you have a door shut in your face. I know this, the energy of this card really, really well. But when it shows up in the upright, if we are mindful, it is an indication that it is the way that we are thinking about the situation that is causing the issue. Now, for some people, I mean, it can be quite obvious that there is a route out, but there's a cost to it that we don't want to pay. Therefore, what we're doing is we're pushing it off the table and we're going, no, not that. And sometimes, unfortunately, the solution is exactly that. And it's about testing, what we value and what we think we should be doing versus what the universe thinks we should be doing, and all these sorts of things, right? Now, when it shows up in the reverse, as it has done for you, what we get is either a slow dawning realization that something has to happen a particular way, or a slow dawning realization that actually we've screened off in our head a number of different exits that could be available. For whatever reason, we haven't seen those. Or it could come like a bolt from the blue, it really could be some sort of lightning strike. Oh, holy shit. But the thing that has to change in this situation is not what you have available to you to utilize, but the very thing that you're using to think about it in the first place, which is obviously your mind. Now, we've got the Two of Wands in the reverse there. And so the combination of these two cards here, and we'll get to the Two of Wands properly in a second. The Eight of Swords is that point where she realizes that she's not actually bound that tightly. She is blindfolded, she is standing in amongst swords, but if she wriggles her hands and gets them free, she can take the blindfold off, and then she can survey her environment properly. Right? That's what's happening here. There's a greater sense of what is needed. I mean, sometimes it can be literally just like coming out of a fog. That's often how I feel the Eight of Swords playing on me. But with this Two of Wands and the Emperor card here, I think coming out of the fog has been the realization that whether you like it or not, you have not yet been at the crossroads that we talk about in terms of the Two of Wands, that allows you to decide which way you're going. In fact, it seems to be kind of, you've been sort of entrenched in the position that you're in. Now, we've got the Emperor card there, and this could be an authoritative male figure in your life who is in some way seeking to cut off routes of escape for and it doesn't have to be a male, it's somebody just with very masculine energy. This could be a boss, this could be a partner, this could be a friend. You can see how it would play out in lots of different situations. But for others of you, it's the desire to kind of take charge. Maybe it's take charge of a group of people that you've been working with, right? And this is something, it could see you being the person who's in the position of authority here, and the person who is needing to try and marshal everybody in the right direction. I'd like to pull out the Wild Unknown and just get a bit of a sense as to why the Emperor is here. Because he really is a card of, in its positive aspect, getting your shit together. But I would have far rather seen that Two of Wands in the upright if that were the case. Tell me about this Emperor. Right, we've got the High Priestess. and we've got the Three of Wands with the Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck here. Those are really positive cards. All three of them are really, really positive cards. So we've got the High Priestess, which is you. So we have an authoritative stamp of Pisces energy here on the reading. But it's also about really high intuition. It's about being able to tune into the next moves. And it seems like now I'm looking at these together. What we've got is what you're actually doing with the Three of Wands. We've got the intuitive inspiration coming here between the Ace of Wands and the High Priestess. What we've got here, though, is a lack of certainty of how to get from one to the other. We can see the issue, can possibly even see the solution, but it's about traversing, bridging the energies of the Ace and the Three so that you're able to do what it is that you need to do. I mean, the Three of Pentacles actually could be you needing to ask for help at this point. I think that's probably a big one, this is the realization that you need to ask for help over here. So when we move into your current energy, we've got the Emperor on his side, which is obviously not the most powerful place for him to be because we like him in the upright. That's where he can do his best work. It's Aries energy, again, like I said, and we have Gemini, Virgo here, and Libra here, so if those signs mean something to you, then all's the good. But I'd rather look at these from an energetic perspective. So we have the Emperor on his side, not quite feeling like one is able to be sovereign, make the choices that you feel should be open to you. Again, that sense of needing to try and bridge between the Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands. It's really, really strong. It feels like the autonomy isn't quite in the right place. For whatever reason, it feels like everything's a little bit messy, Pisces. It's not as clear and clean cut as you would like things to be. I mean, we have the Magician here who is, attempting to manifest. That's what the Magician does. It's a very powerful application of one's will to a situation. And we have the Queen of Swords there, who is also trying to make sense of all the information that is swimming around you at this point. Trying to work out the best way that you can get your Emperor in the upright. Tell me about this Magician and the Queen of Swords. I've got the Two of Swords here. I mean, there is one other interpretation that I would just like to throw out there that isn't going to apply to everyone, but since we've got the Emperor showing up here like this, and I did say that could be, someone with very masculine energies who's kind of blocking things for you. We can see a similar sort of thing potentially for the Magician, because the Magician essentially is a bit of a manipulator, right? And that's a good thing or a bad thing depending on what it is that he's trying to do. Now, you could read these two cards here as somebody who is actually trying to muddy the waters of your thinking, right? Manipulate the way that you're viewing the information to put you back into this state where you don't really know what is the right way to do things. Now, that's not going to be for everyone, and I'm just throwing that in there because I see it. But this Emperor in the sideways presentation could be then actually this Emperor falling off his plinth and being able to affect you all year round, be the authority as much as he has in the past. Like I said, that's just for some of you. Tell me about these cards here. Yeah, we've got the Two of Swords and the Nine of Swords. And it's this King of Wands. It's this, let's see the Seven of Cups there. It's this gulf between what you want, what you're trying to make manifest, what you're trying to understand, and then further how that is expressed outside of you in terms of the way that you, the actions that you take outside of you. And the reality which is that nothing is quite as strong as you would like it to be. The Two of Swords is it's often the things you don't see that you don't see, which can be quite debilitating at times. But we've got literally the eclipse happening here, and that's a solar eclipse for sure. But the eclipse energy is strong, and it feels like it's kind of bubbling around you a little bit at this point. We've got the Nine of Swords there, which is overthinking quite often, but it's a loss of perspective more often than not. We seem to have gone from what was very, very clear back here, at least in terms of how you get out of this situation, if not how at least you execute it. And then we've got this emotional fogginess here. Illusion, confusion, these are all cards that all interpretations that apply to this card. And then we've got kind of locked into needing to make some sort of decision, but it being one that seems to be based in the mind rather than based in the heart. And it feels like it's making things really difficult for you. Now, the King of Wands is there because what you want to do is take action, but your energy seems to be debilitated for one reason or another, whether it's a manipulative person in your midst, or whether it just feels like everything's kind of nothing can be quite seen through to its conclusion. And I could see why that would be tremendously frustrating, particularly when you're trying to think in very straight lines and very practically about this. The energies of the Magician and the Emperor are very resourceful. Indeed, the same for the King of Wands as well. But it's like trying to start an engine that doesn't really want to start. You've got the put, and it's like it's so close, and yet it's not quite firing. And it feels like it's stressing you out. It's like all the parts are there. It's just how do I synthesize them so that I can exercise my authority, my autonomy, my sovereignty over my situation. Like I said, some of you might have to ask for help, Pisces. Now, when we move into the energies for the rest of March, we have the Empress on her side. Now, obviously, we would prefer that she was up, showing herself in the upright, because that's a really beautiful energy of feeling abundant, right? One of the meanings for me of the Empress is just that feeling of extreme gratitude for everything that we have, feeling like we're in the flow, whatever that is, of things just kind of working themselves out. And I'm afraid that's absolutely not what is happening here. It's almost like you can sense the flow, but you can't quite step out of the situation that you're in to get into the stream. The Empress is she's depicted as pregnant here, and so we have that meaning of something that is trying to gestate, right? There's something here that's trying to come through, but it's not quite there yet. Which is to say, this burden probably continues right through until the end of May. You could be incredibly disheartened by that. And I think some of you might be with that Knight of Cups in reverse. But I'm wondering if there's something a little bit more subtle going on here. Whether it's subtle levels of influence from people who are supposed to be your emotional support network, because the Strength card's in the upright, and the Strength card is a beautiful card. It's a Leo card of strength and courage to do things, but the darker aspect of this very light, very positive card is that often when it shows up, we are being called to draw on reserves of strength to get through something that is very difficult. It's a card that talks about personal development and personal growth and all these kinds of things. And as we know, those things happen in challenging situations. It's like a muscle that needs to be flexed, and we need to push through and be brave enough to push through. But it seems like quite a lot of what you would like to be able to rely on just simply is not there. Now, the Knight of Cups, is particularly significant because it's your card. That is a Pisces card in the minor arcana. And when it's in the upright, again, it's a state of flow. It's giving your cup to other people because yours, you're overfilled with all the good stuff, and you've got extra that you can pass on to other people. It's about talking about leading from a heart-centered consciousness, but it's shutting down here. And this Three of Cups is shutting down. And could it be that it's not, that you don't have the emotional support around you that you thought that you had? Is it the people around you that are causing the stress here? Tell me about the Strength card. Right, we've got the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, in the upright, beg your pardon. We've got the Page of Cups. And we've got the King of Pentacles. Let's just pop him there. And this feels... It feels to me like what is needed here is a really solid plan, Pisces. When the King of Pentacles shows up, that's Taurus energy, and it is about delayed gratification. It's about pushing the result a little bit further back so that you can work out step by step, without taking any shortcuts, what the best way to work through this energy is. Now, I feel like it's really kind of honing in on you specifically, which is probably something that you've already had a bit of an inkling about because of this Eight of Swords down here. But the Seven of Pentacles, which feels really grim. I mean, Kim Kranz has done such a good job with this card because it's just that absolute predictability of everything being the same all the fucking time. We've got these lines here that go like this. They hit a pentacle and they go up. It's just soul-crushing predictability about a situation. Now, the broader meaning of this card is dealing with a situation that is in some ways suboptimal. I like this card in some ways because it's a recognition that there's a desire to break out of whatever paradigm this card is representing for you. But do you know exactly what it is that is wrong with your situation? Which is to say, Pisces, if it is something that is inside of you at this point, if it's a way that you are being called to grow, then it doesn't really matter what's going on outside of you. Like I was saying at the beginning, often my experience of the Eight of Swords is the universe closing every door that I attempt to go through till I get to the point where I am literally just sat in the middle going, well, I can't fucking go anywhere then. I'm totally fucking trapped, aren't I? And it's only at that point that I can start to realise that, well, A, that's never true. That actually never is true. It's about what we see and what we don't see and what we've got to work with. And if we can't see those things in that moment, then it is us that need to change the way that we're thinking. And the fact that the Six of Cups is at the bottom of the deck here, which is a card that very much deals with the past, sometimes childhood and all that kind of thing, is making me feel like there is a little bit of work here to do between now and the end of March on the extent to which you've been trying to please too many people too many times. I mean, whatever ending you're trying to pull about here, because it really does feel like you're trying to clothe something out here, Pisces. I think you're maybe trying to do it without upsetting people. And that, in the first instance, is the thing that is wrong. Because we've got the Page of Cups here. Like this, we've got a whole, ugly duckling vibe going on with this. This is clearly not a duckling, it's a signet, and we've got that rainbow kind of reflection coming back to it here. It feels like you're trying really hard not to upset people at the expense of yourself. And there's something about the execution of your longer term plan here that is going to require you to break eggs to do it. If you're going to make an omelette, you have to break the eggs. And where where the engine is sputtering and not quite firing is this desire to do it as quietly and as peacefully as possible without drawing undue attention to yourself or causing anybody else any kind of inconvenience or pain or whatever. This is the thing that I think is keeping the Empress on her side. This is the thing that I think is keeping the Emperor on his side. Because sometimes the difficult decisions that we have to make, by extension, particularly if we've ended up in a situation that is that we entered into as a result of trauma or traumatized mindsets, or even just a recognition that we have changed within a situation, and so what suited us at one point now does not suit us anymore, and that being okay. I mean, I really do feel like it's the difference between you as was versus you as is now, and you're trying to move seamlessly between the two so that your external reality reflects that change. But for some reason you've been bedded in so hard into what you're trying to break out of right now, it is going to upset the apple cart. And for some reason you're trying to avoid that being the way that this all goes down, right? Would that not be your Two of Swords? Would that not be some aspect of the Eight of Swords there for you? I think so. But the problem is, in doing so, you're kind of denying what you need in the situation for the benefit of other people, which means that the lesson that the universe is trying to teach you, which is to really to come from a place of self first, is not really being honoured. This is really interesting, Pisces. I'm going to go over to the extended now. I'm going to see if we can pull all of this apart a little bit more so you can understand what's going on, because you are so close. You're really, really close, but I recognise this energy of doors being shut everywhere until we stop trying to leave and we turn around and say, what is the thing that is obstructing me internally here on this one? And then start putting the energy into that, So, if you'd like to join me on that one, you're very welcome to do so. You can do that on Vimeo, or you can come over and join Circle. It's entirely up to you. Be delighted to see you in both places. If neither of those appeal to you, and just know that this is not you being punished. There's a deeper lesson that's going on here about the way that you assert yourself over your life. Quite simply, how you exercise sovereignty. And there's a push here that is going to require you to upset the apple cart in some sort of way. And until you're ready to do it, the situation's just going to sit here simmering quietly, So, know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.